The Quran, if found guilty, can be burned.
The pastor of a small church in Florida refused to back down from plans to burn copies of the Quran on the 9th anniversary of the September 11th attacks.
Radical Muslim protesters burning the American flag.
President Obama wants a Florida pastor to call off his plans to burn copies of the Quran.
U.S. commander in Afghanistan has condemned an American pastor for burning a copy of the Quran.
And obviously that any type of activity like that would be that puts our troops in harm's way would be a concern to this administration.
I have hardly the words to that somebody would do that to somebody's religious book.
Hundreds of protesters marched towards the building to express their anger at the burning of the Holy Quran.
Death threats are pouring into the church from in and out of the U.S.
The U.S. State Department has issued a warning to American embassies in Muslim countries to brace for an anti-American backlash, demonstrations, and the possibility of violence.
We at Stand Up America Now find this a very tragic and criminal action. Our United States government and our president must take a close, realistic look at radical element Islam. Islam is not a religion of peace. It is time that we call these people to accountability.
He has the right to do so in the First Amendment. We're not denying that right. But is it the right thing to do? Is it moral? Is it the Christian thing to do? What is this message fit of Christianity? Jesus love you. Is Jesus love you is to burn a book, a holy book of a whole Islam?
What we have here is the government, being the city of Gainesville here, denying a permit to engage in this protest. It appears that they're doing so because of their disagreement with the nature of the protest, and that's a First Amendment problem.
President Obama called for an end to the violence.
I condemn in the strongest possible terms the attack on the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan today. The brave men and women of the United Nations, including the Afghan staff, undertake their work in support of the Afghan people. Their work is essential to building a stronger Afghanistan for the benefit of all its citizens.
The FBI and police visited the Dove World Outreach Ministries today.
We wanted to send a message to Islam, especially to the radical factions of Islam.
The two signs that the church had put up announcing this event have been torn down by vandals, and so they got a third and much bigger sign.
So as of right now, we are not convinced that backing down is the right thing.
The plan to burn the Quran has already sparked outrage among Muslims the world over.
The Afghan president, Hamid Karzai, is calling on the U.S. Congress to issue its own condemnation.
In Afghanistan, Muslim leaders say the U.S. can't afford to let the burning go ahead. America must stop this, he says. The Taliban will use it as proof they are here to destroy Islam.
The church has the right to do this. In fact, they have the right to ignore the permit requirement if it imposes an unconstitutional burden on speech, which I believe it does.
In Britain, a former leader of an Islamist hardline group told CBS News this morning he plans to call on Muslims worldwide to make 9/11 a Burn the Stars and Stripes Day.
Pastor Terry Jones triggered widespread protests in Afghanistan. 15 people were killed, including 7 United Nations workers.
We condemn the action of an individual in the United States who burned a holy Quran. That action was hateful, it was intolerant, and it was extremely disrespectful.
The actual physical book is for lack of a better phrase, a holy object, and that desecration is just not something they can understand.
Indonesia, the world's largest Muslim country, has sent a letter to President Obama asking him to step in and forbid the bonfire from taking place.
Revised our security arrangements repeatedly, and we will need to do so again.
The normally outspoken Jones and his followers had little to say about the deaths triggered by the Quran burning.
Mr. Obama said this morning, quote, "This is a recruitment bonanza for al-Qaeda, and that it might cause serious violence in Pakistan or Afghanistan." He also says it might lure more individuals who'd be willing to blow themselves up in American or European cities.
Thousands have gathered in other provinces denouncing the burning of the Quran and demanding aggressive actions against the desecration of Islamic symbols.